Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you for coming to watch. So, I've got you guys an update on this massive winter storm that is going to be moving across the central and then the eastern U.S. as we get throughout this weekend. We're going to be talking about the latest and final information on this massive system, as well as impacts and which areas are going to get hit the hardest. I've got all of the latest information coming right up. So, taking a look here at our current radar, we can actually see the storm starting to form down here. This piece of energy up here, this is not your storm system. This is just a piece of energy that's going to be moving out like that. Okay, and that is bringing a lot of snow into North Dakota. All right, but that's not the beginning of your system. This is your system down here that's bringing some showers and thunderstorms uh, into areas just south of really the Midwest. Here we can see into Missouri, we're seeing the stronger storms starting to fire across central portion of the state, and then down here into portions of southeastern Oklahoma is where we also see a line of thunderstorms starting to form. Okay, this is basically the beginning of your storm evolution, as we're going to see the storm continue moving into the eastern U.S. and then eventually the Northeast. But yeah, a lot of things to cover in this update. So, getting rolling here, looking at our current alerts, very busy as of right now. We have up here in the north central U.S. All of North Dakota is under a winter weather advisory because of that snow. We've got also some wind advisories going down into portions of South Dakota, then southwestern Minnesota, northwestern Iowa, and then we can also see in northeastern Nebraska where we see um, those high wind advisories, and then that same winter weather advisory stretches down into portions of northern South Dakota. All right, in the eastern U.S., we actually finally did get our alerts for the storm system. This was issued by the National Weather Service today. All right, so starting out, we can see this entire region basically is under a flood watch. This is going out all the way up from central Maine down to Delmarva here. This is going up the I-95 corridor, including Long Island, New Jersey, and then all of southern New England. Portions of the east coast of Massachusetts is not under this flood watch. I think that some rainfall totals may be less. Okay, maybe it'll be a little bit farther inland, but personally I would extend that flood watch. We can also see some high wind watches actually have been posted as well. There are some counties out here into the south coast of Massachusetts, near the Cape Cod area, that are under that high wind watch. I am currently under a high wind watch, and I am on Long Island here, so I believe all of Long Island and the New York City metro area is currently under a high wind watch. Okay, so we'll go through the details on that in just a minute. All right, and then up here into portions of upstate New York, and then Vermont, and I believe New Hampshire. I'm not sure. All right, but I'm pretty sure Vermont here. We have a winter storm watch, so make sure that you're staying prepared, and just ahead of what's going to be going on here. All right, and obviously checking with these alerts because this forecast might change. There might be some, drastic changes in the forecast. Shouldn't say drastic, but very late, like last minute changes in the forecast. But it looks like we've got it down for now. So we take a look at the GFS model, and so we can actually start to see our storm system forming. And so basically, what we've got is right now we have this piece of energy that was anticipated to move through just north of the Great Lakes region. All right, and this would go right up to Canada. Well, it's going to do that, but this is really going to get this started, this storm system. All right, so it helps this piece of energy get going across the south. All right, as this thing is becoming stronger and moving off to the east. Okay, but really what it does, it continues to feed the system until it actually gets its own low pressure. So the setup right now is we've got a big cold plunge in Arctic blast that's moving down from the northwestern U.S. You've got high pressure and cold, dry air moving down into this region here. Okay, and then we've got a lot of very, very warm and moist air here. The dew points in this area are going to be in the 60s and 50s. We're not going to look at the dew points, okay, but the just the environment for severe weather is going to be right. All right, it's just a matter of how busy the atmosphere is going to be. All right, but here we go. We can see that low pressure. All right, that piece of energy starts to move up north away from the system, and then when do we see the system become its own low pressure? Well, it's still controlled by this. Okay, it's still a 990 millibar low pressure storm system here, but we do have that Arctic blast moving down, and it's catching up with this system. So I think that this will be the hour when this system on the backside changes to snow. Okay, but we can see we're only 36 hours out. So this is tomorrow. This is the middle of the night tonight into tomorrow, or sorry, this is Saturday into Sunday. Okay, we've got a huge Arctic plunge getting down all the way into central Texas. Okay, so a very deep and extensive Arctic blast there. All right, but we see what happens in that system. It moves out and pretty much drags this thing across the south, bringing that severe weather event, and then in the eastern U.S., where this does actually we see its own low pressure signature right there. And well, what does it do? Well, it's not as strong as it was first anticipated this week. Okay, early this week we saw this becoming a lot more of a dynamic system. Well, this is looking more just like a strong system because you've got very strong southerly winds. This storm is going to be trying to gulp up as much moisture as it can from both the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico. And so one reason why we get those really strong southerly winds is because that's going to be caught up in that. That's basically what that stream of that moisture is going towards. You can see these black lines indicating the wind stream and how strong the winds are. Okay, it's moving pretty much right up into that area where that low pressure is going to move right through. Okay, that's going to show you guys why we're seeing those southerly winds that are going to be so strong. All right, excuse me, but look at this. A lot of snowfall here on the backside will come into we'll go into the northeast. All right, to get a better look at things here, we can actually see a lot of snowfall, a lot of rain changing to snow on the backside here, and some of these pockets of snow could actually get very heavy, and I think we could have blizzard conditions for a few minutes scattered out here in these areas. Really, I would say into PA and then into the midsection of New York State into upstate New York. I think that's where we could get blizzard conditions. But we're talking about snowfall potentially as far south as North Carolina, the mountains of North Carolina into Tennessee, so the Smoky Mountains up to the Appalachian Mountain region, and then all the way towards the Finger Lakes region where we could get snow from this. But I think really, as the storm moves to the east of the Finger Lakes, is where we'll see that rain change to snow. But very heavy rainfall and disruptive thunderstorms move right through southern New England. Delmarva about to get hit very hard by a storm system. The storm system here. All right, very heavy rainfall also moving down into North Carolina. But as this thing starts to get off the coast, you're gonna see extreme rainfall amounts really start to kick in. And the reason why this is becoming a flood event that's so dangerous for the coast is because that as soon as this low pressure gets on the coast above those warm waters, right in that environment that's literally like waiting for it to for it to arrive there, that's when it's really going to take off and get strong. Okay, we see a lot more snow showing up here on the backside too. All right, this could be the most active hour of the system. This is December 11th, 1 a.m. So this is looking like this is gonna shaping up for Monday morning, Sunday into Monday. Okay, and that system is still moving to the northeast. Extreme rainfall amounts here coming into Boston. I really don't know why we're not seeing any flood watches out there into the coastline of Massachusetts, because I think that these rainfall rates could really be anywhere from half an inch to an inch per hour. All right, but we can see extreme, very heavy snowfall starting to show up here into portions of the backcountry of interior portions of Maine here, and then Vermont and New Hampshire, where we see that very heavy snow. Blizzard conditions are definitely possible with that. And I think that because your winds are probably going to be gusting to around 40 miles per hour, you're not on the coastline, so you're not. I don't think you guys are in that high wind watch for now, but you're still going to have gusty winds potentially up to around 40 miles per hour, drifting, blowing snow, very heavy snowfall. That's all going to lead to blizzard conditions. And then the GFS has been doing something pretty wonky with the end of this. It wants it to kind of bomb out and become a bomb cyclone, which means basically that you could say it stalls out a little bit, gets slows down a little, and takes up this moisture from the Gulf of Maine. Okay, as it starts to spin around out here, right around Maine, and that's where we can see maybe the heaviest rain, the heaviest snowfall amounts here. We can see extremely heavy snowfall. I mean, this is going to be like, snowfall that you haven't seen. If let's say you've moved in, you're living in Maine right now, and you've moved there, just a few years ago. This is going to be the heaviest snow you've seen pretty much in your lifetime. It's going to be extremely heavy snow, and a very sharp contrast to extremely heavy rainfall. So, it's right where that cold front, that warm front meet, is where we see the heavy snow or the change to rain here, and we could actually see that heavy snow is inside some of that warm front. So, we could actually be dealing with some wet snow, heavy wet snow. But it just shows you that the system is it's so capable of doing all these things that it's just because of all that moisture. All right. But still a lot of snow on the backside, a lot of very heavy rainfall off the coast of Massachusetts, and that starts to move out. And we're finally done with that by Monday evening. All right, and we're left with some very cold air, very dry air, and some high pressure. All right, so that was the GFS model. We look at what the Euro is saying for this. All right, well, what does the Euro show? Well, it shows that same first initial low pressure right here, okay, and it does show those storms obviously down here in the south, and we're going to see this low pressure try to kick out that high pressure, and that the storm system is going to follow that low pressure signature right there, and it does, okay? So we get our severe weather event in the south. Okay, here comes your cold blast down to Texas. Really, that same exact area that the GFS was showing. So, pretty good model agreement so far. We're about halfway through our system. All right, but we definitely have cold air surging down south. All right, and that warm air is getting flip flopped all into the eastern U.S., awaiting the system. And we're seeing some very intense ridging showing up here. So, this is just going to be such a stable environment, guys, that it's just, it's going to be ready for the system. And so here comes the system. It gets in the northeast, and we'll zoom in here for the northeast. All right. And sorry, guys, my speech is off. I am very tired right now. I had very long weekend, very long Friday. I've been tracking the system all day since like Monday, so I'm very tired. So that's the reason why. But we look at the northeast here based off of the Euro. All right, so we're getting into Sunday. All right, so we're getting into this is Sunday, Sunday evening. All right, we're starting to see some storm action really enter the northeastern U.S. This is going to come in as all rain according to the Euro. Okay, the GFS wanted some snow here, and now we see this not immediately change to snow. We're seeing some frozen precipitation, some ice here, some freezing rain and sleet. Okay, starting to show up here into portions of upstate New York and then the mountains of West Virginia, but starting to see some pockets of heavier rainfall showing up for portions of southern New York State, closer into Long Island, and then New Jersey. Some very heavy rainfall near that low pressure signature into Virginia. Okay, we're getting into Sunday night, and bam, that snow just opens up here, and now we see the storm unloading massive amounts of snow, based off of the European model. So very big differential there in our models there. We can see the GFS was not showing, half of this amount of snow. The GFS wanted, it wanted some snow, but definitely not nearly as much snow as what the Euro is showing. And the Euro is showing a massive winter storm for areas as far south as northeastern PA. Okay, so we could have an all-out winter storm in this area right here. Okay, and so we'll see when we look at the snowfall totals, it's going to be very different. So we really got to figure this one out. This one's going to be a tough one. All right, but we see that low pressure signature is going to move right through the south shore of Long Island, which means heavier rainfall totals, obviously for the areas near there. All right, and then this moves into the coastal regions of the Northeast, and then this low pressure is near that Gulf Coast, the Gulf Coast of Maine. or sorry, yeah, I guess the Gulf of Maine here, that the coastline of Maine, and we can see this one. The Euro doesn't want this to exactly bomb out. I guess you could say like the GFS was kind of showing. All right, but it wants it to do something a little funny here on the backside. Does it show the same snow in the Maine? No, it's a little different here. The GFS shows a lot of extremely heavy snow in the Maine and not nearly as much snow uh, into the interior northeast. All right, and the Euro is pretty much flip flop. The Euro wants a lot of snow into the interior northeast and not as much snow into Maine, but you'll still definitely get snow into Maine. It really depends on where you are. If you're up here in northwestern Maine, then be on the lookout for multiple inches of snow, potentially talking about a foot of snow. Really depends on which model is going to be the winner for the system, but it's going to be interesting. Really um, I'm really just ready to find out which model is going to take the win here on this system. All right, but we look at the GFS model for looking at basically your relative humidity. Okay, and we look at where the drier and the warm moisture is. So these browns and tan shade, obviously, that signifies drier. But these greens and these bluish greens, that's very moisture. The darker the green is, the moister the air. And automatically, you can see that this area is going to be um, I'm gonna say a lot during this update, but it's going to be ready for the system. It's literally going to be waiting for the system, but we can see that dry line starting to push this out. You can see those wind markings here are actually right on that line, and we see very cold and dry air moving down with that cold blast. Very dry air into Texas. It's going to be There's not going to be that much moisture into Texas after the system moves out. All right, which leaves a lot of moisture in the eastern U.S. And look, it's right in this direction. Look, this low pressure is going to move up like that. Okay, let me change my color to yellow here so you can see this better. All right, but this low pressure right here, all right, that's going to move like that. Okay, and this region, I should say, is just waiting for that low pressure to move right through, and that moisture moves with it. And as it starts to bomb out, like the GFS wants it to show, it gets even more moisture, and it's so deep here that you're really seeing, humidity percentages up into the 90s, really. So around 100% humidity. That means that like around 100% of the air is going to be moist. All right, and that's down to the ground level. All right, and I've definitely felt that. I felt that during the summer, and it's so you can feel it. It's so muggy, and it's going to be so unusually warm out here. It's going to be a very different night than what you usually see. All right, so looking at our current projected snowfall totals. All right, here comes the GFS. The GFS kind of backing off on a crazy big winter storm idea with this. Shows 1 to 2, maybe up to 3 inches of snow, all the way from the mountains of North Carolina up to upstate New York, where we can see that tiny pocket of heavier snow amounts here into south central New York State, where we can see 4 to 6 inches of snow. All right, the GFS wants to show that. It wants snow as far south as portions of Rhode Island into eastern Connecticut, and then maybe all the way as far east as the coastal regions of Massachusetts. All right, it wants around an inch or two of snow out there, but the heavier amounts, of course, into Maine here, where it shows an all-out winter storm here, 8 to 12 inches of snow. I would call this a blizzard if this were to happen, because again, those winds are going to be whipping out there, like I said earlier, and so it's just going to cause some big travel disruptions as well. But yeah, definitely, just be ready for any potential impacts based off of the major models. So really, what you're looking for is either a potential up to a blizzard, what we could be talking about, or a slight winter storm with a few inches of snow. All right, that's what we could be talking about. But in the northern Vermont, New Hampshire, we have anywhere from 5 to 7, maybe up to 8 inches of snow predicted here. If we go down farther south into the states, really it's only Vermont that still sees the heavier snow. Into New Hampshire, we see lighter snowfall totals as we gradually make our way farther south. All right, so that is the GFS for your snowfall totals. What does the Euro show? An all-out winter storm. All right, it shows over a foot of snow for portions of upstate New York. We'll start down south here where we can see into portions of West Virginia, maybe up to around as 5 inches of snow into the mountains of West Virginia. I don't think it wants any snow in North Carolina, maybe a coating, all right, but in Northern Virginia, anywhere from 1 to 4 inches of snow is possible. Um, it shows that same pocket of heavier snowfall totals in the northeastern PA and then down here into south central New York State. It wants around 7 to 10 inches of snow potentially dropped in this band here. So wherever you see the purple, you can see maybe as high as 8 inches of snow. Okay, but surrounding these areas, all the way up towards the Great Lakes here, we could see 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of snow. All right, and then through central PA, some pockets of heavier snow if possible. We could actually start to see these lighter shades of blue, signifying, or white, I should say, signifying maybe 5-6 inches of snow. But it's really the heavier snow up here well up into upstate New York. We could see around 13 to 14 inches of snow. All right, right around where we see a 10.3-inch marking. Okay, go over to northern Vermont where we can see maybe the heaviest snow shown by the European model, 16 inches of snow, which is approaching a foot and a half of snow. That is a substantial winter storm, maybe a blizzard there. All right, and we get as far south as really the border of Massachusetts and Vermont is where we could see as high as 6 inches of snow still. But the Euro wants no snow into the southern New England at all. No snow into Connecticut, into Rhode Island, into Massachusetts. No snow at all. I mean, unless you're really far into the interior portions of Massachusetts, like towards the New York and Massachusetts border. All right, but it's really looking like, I think that the areas that are to be watched are going to be in here. All right, I would exclude um New Hampshire. All right, for this, but I would put in this circled area here for your first area to watch for snow, and then of course up here in the northern Maine, where we could also see some heavier snowfall totals. All right. So now taking a look at the NAM 3KM model, we're looking at the south central U.S. for your severe weather event. Okay, so taking a look here at the timing for this, I don't think this is going to be that big of an event. All right, some scattered severe storms are possible, and this one probably going to bring damaging wind gusts and tornadoes, but all hazards are possible with this system. All right, so we don't see any explosive thunderstorms. Obviously, thunderstorms will continue into tonight, and then tomorrow we're getting to noon. Tomorrow's midday tomorrow. We still don't see really any explosive thunderstorm action happening. Then we do start to see a line of thunderstorms really stretch all the way from southern Ohio down towards northern Louisiana, and this is going to be a very, very long line of storms. All right, very long and skinny line of storms. Which usually means that you're going to be dealing with damaging wind gusts. All right. We actually don't get the hazard type on here, but it looks like we actually do have some CAPE. All right, so some instability in the atmosphere, but I think that we're really going to be dealing with damaging wind gusts. But definitely that tornado threat is still there. These storms could intensify as these get into Tennessee and North Carolina, and then really northern Georgia. I would watch out for maybe some hail with those, but tornadoes, I think really the area to watch for tornadoes would be into here. Okay, and that's probably going to be around, this is going to be around Sunday morning. Okay, so Sunday morning we're going to start to see that tornado threat become elevated. And then more Gulf moisture starts to come up, and we can actually start to see some more thunderstorm action farther south into south central Georgia, and then down towards Florida, okay, where we could actually be dealing with some strong to severe storms. And that's going to be pretty much for the rest of Sunday as the storm system moves up in the northeast, and then that backside snow actually, or backside rain changes to snow here as these thunderstorms move up into the mid-Atlantic and northeast. All right, and so we look at the current SPC outlook for the south central U.S. Well, really the southeastern U.S. We have a slight risk. This is issued for tomorrow. This might get upgraded to an enhanced risk, but I doubt it. I just don't think this is really going to be a severe weather kind of system. It's just, I mean, the moisture is there. The dynamics are there. It's just there's not enough instability in the atmosphere. You saw the Cape. Okay, we didn't have over 1,000 joules per kilogram of Cape. All right, and that is considered not enough to really spark severe storms. I think we're definitely going to get severe storms. All right. Sorry about that notification. I don't know why it's popping up, but we're definitely going to get severe storms. I just don't think that it's going to be widespread. I don't think that they're going to be the strongest that you'll ever see down here. So, looking at what we've got right now, we've got a slight risk of level 2 out of 5 going out for portions of southern Kentucky all the way down to extreme eastern Texas. We have cities like Little Rock, Arkansas, Memphis, and Nashville, Tennessee. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know what's going on with this notification here, but going all the way from Nashville and Memphis, Tennessee to portions of northern Alabama into central and northern Mississippi here, northern Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, Jackson, Mississippi, and then surrounding areas are under that 1 out of 5, that marginal risk. All right, the tornado outlook. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why we're getting that notification. I really apologize about that, guys. All right, but that tornado outlook, we have a 5% risk. All right, for that same area of that slight risk, that for that marginal risk, you have the 2% risk for tornadoes. Damage and wind outlook, 15 to 20% risk for that slight risk area, and then surrounding areas, that marginal risk area, you have that 5% risk. All right, then finally, your severe hail outlook, same deal with your damage and wind threat, although it's positioned farther to the northwest, but really that same area, that slight risk, and then obviously the marginal risk for the surrounding areas. All right, so that was your severe weather side of things. We look at the northeast now. All right, what the NAM 3CAM model wants to say about this. All right, and so this moves through. We look at what these thunderstorms could bring, and they come in pretty strong. They charge right through this area. Okay, definitely suitable for thunderstorms as this moves through. But it's going to be round after round of relentless, strong, and loud thunderstorms as this moves into the northeast. And the NAM 3CAM model is showing some snow building up down here in the Delmarva area. And we could actually be seeing some heavy snow, maybe some heavy snow bands. It's definitely possible in Delmarva. So, really not the strongest model agreement for this storm system as it moves into the northeast. So, kind of interesting to see that. All right, so taking a look here for the last part of the update, your damage and wind gusts. All right, and we're going to be comparing models really quick. I want to get this update done here for you guys. But we're going to be about just what the models are saying about this. All right, so we'll look at what the Euro's saying. All right, so we'll put this to Saturday here. All right, we're starting to see some strong winds moving through the Ohio Valley. All right, but it's the northeast and southern New England that I want to talk about. Okay, and we're getting midday Sunday, and we can start to see this wind gust swath producing around 30 mile per hour winds here. All right, and then as we get late into Sunday, this is where we really see this storm get amplified. 40 mile per hour gusts, really through southern New England. The most intense hour for southern New England in like Long Island and Connecticut is really going to be the middle of the night, Sunday to Monday. And the Euro wants around 50 mile per hour gusts. I would say some could get up to 55, maybe 60 miles per hour for portions of Long Island. And into portions of Connecticut and Massachusetts. Okay, And then as this moves out, this continues to get stronger, and we could start to see 60 plus to 70 mile per hour gusts showing up here, going all the way from the Cape Cod area all the way up towards Maine, where we could see maybe an 80, 70 to 80 mile per hour gust. So we're talking over hurricane force winds, and then very strong, persistent winds coming out of the northwest after the system. And I'm very sorry, guys, about that um notification coming up. I don't know why that's coming up a lot. All right, HRRR doesn't go that far out. The GFS. All right, what does the GFS show? Same scenario, a little bit of a less strong wind event for southern New England, but definitely very strong winds, really 50 to 60 as well. And yeah, the GFS shows that same wind gust, the same area of wind gust, reaching into the Gulf of Maine here, and then really getting strong, 72 miles per hour. We see how the GFS has been really taking this up notch here. We can see 85, 86 mile per hour wind gusts possible with this swath. So very strong winds coming into Maine here, Bangor, Maine. Watch out. Okay, Monday, midday Monday, so around 10 a.m. we're seeing very strong winds moving into Maine. These are going to knock out power, widespread power outages. It's going to be a very wild night. And then same persistent northwesterly flow brings some strong wind gusts on the backside into portions of southern New England. We look at the NAM 3K, the NAM 5KM model. Okay, a little bit more of a higher resolution model. Okay, and it shows more of aggressive turn to your wind gust. We'll take it as far out as it goes. Okay, and it actually does show wind gusts getting into the 50s here across Long Island, and then up and down the Jersey coast. We can see mid 50s, potentially up to 60 miles per hour near Atlantic City, Salisbury around 50 miles per hour, New Shoreham, Yarmouth. But I'm pretty sure it will show these winds will actually pick up speed here, and I think that this will show wind strengthening here on Long Island. So 60 in favor of 60 mile per hour gusts on Long Island, and then obviously dangerous and destructive winds out here in the Maine. All right, so that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for coming to watch. We'll see you guys in the next video. I apologize a lot about that notification popping up on the screen all the time. I'm trying to figure out what that is. I think it said something about an update coming in. All right, so for the computer, but yeah, we just gotta watch this system very closely as this moves through this weekend. All right, we're gonna be talking about severe weather, damaging winds, very heavy snowfall, very heavy rainfall, flooding rainfall is possible. I know we didn't look at the rainfall amounts, but it's going to be a few inches out here into the Northeast. So thank you all for coming to watch the video, and I'll see you guys